share for Farcaster. Latest numbers say that about 500,000 active wallet addresses are EVM compatible on Farcaster, so you want to play where the audience is. Here are some 3 examples of what tends to overperform on Farcaster. They're on-chain requests. The middle one is from one of our clients, Talent Protocol, where basically what they're asking for designers to do is submit their designs to potentially qualify for a 200 million build is their native token. A couple other examples on the left and right. They're just more to claim an NFT for an up-and-coming announcement, which is more typical of what you see. Next, this is also within the Farcaster ecosystem, but leverage bountycaster.xyz. This is Linda Z's platform, quite prolific. In this example, this is from Gaia AI. It's a decentralized AI agent, and they're leveraging kind of the zeitgeist of brat culture, if you know what that's about. And so what this prompt is basically asking AI agents to create the most brat-worthy agent and rewarding the top submission with 360 USDC. Again, the point of this isn't actually the brat AI, it's to collect and amass EVM compatible wallet addresses. And so, next slide. With those 2 sets of tactics, you can enrich the EVM compatible addresses with social addresses on Web2 using vendors like FIDE. FIDE is an aggregator. I'm sure you've seen other vendors like Addressable. FIDE is really it does one-to-many, so you don't really have to shop around to many vendors. You can just go to FIDE. And what FIDE does is basically feed it all of the Web3 EVM compatible addresses. It spits out custom audiences for you to run either paid ads, or it just gives you the actual organic X profiles that you can do the next set of tactics with. So let's move on to the next section. Social media hacks. So now you have, let's call it 500, maybe 1,000 addresses, maybe 10,000. What do you do with all that? Well, you want to extend the conversation on social media. So let's go to the next slide. You probably have seen this. Engagement farming is definitely a tactic that's big in our industry. Reply guying is basically swiping into someone's comments and either putting a funny comment or some sort of GIF. This tactic works. There's literally no ad product that's better targeted reach. If you're a founder of an early stage company, you definitely need to be doing this. And if you feel like it's a waste of your time, you're probably not doing it right. I'd even go as far as to say, most of the times, leads or clients will come to us and say, help us with a social media strategy, and they often confuse that with posting content on Twitter. Well, that's actually just the front door to your house. You need to build all the roads to your house. The roads to your house is all engagement farming, because Twitter, or X, is effectively a digital cocktail party. And like a digital cocktail party, if you're not funny, or if you're not contributing to the conversation, and you're too busy talking about your special project or how beautiful your child is and no one cares, they eventually just walk away, right? And so, very practical guide of how to engage with the farm. vCred is one of it. Well, yeah, you can start here. First, create a list of influential people on X. That could be KOLs, that could be VCs that you're targeting, it could be business partners. It could be the enriched list of EVM compatible addresses that you've scraped through your quests. Then you engage with their tweets with value-added comments, and I'll show you examples of that in the next slide. And then you optimize for earned impressions. So on the earned impression piece, if the original poster is reacting to your comment, you typically get served more impressions, and that's what you want to optimize for. Again, there's no ad product for this, so the only way to do it is just to spend time. vCred is one of our clients, so basically we took their account from 0 to 6,000 followers in about 2 months. The way that we did that was we targeted a set of KOLs and influencers and investors, and we just came in to the DMs and said some funny stuff. So on the left-hand side, you see the tweet is Avalanche literally is the largest BTC L2, largest gaming chain, largest enterprise chain, largest institutional chain. Our community manager responded with largest left 0.2, now that the California DMV is about to pay that as well. You see that we earned 141 impressions on that. We probably earned about 10 followers. Literally, you can't buy this, right? So it takes a very smart and astute community manager who understands the zeitgeist of Web3, is funny enough, isn't that serious, doesn't take themselves too seriously, and is just participating in the dialogue. Basically what happens is all of the followers of Will, this kpop.arc, they end up going to the profile, and from there they end up following you based on the content that you have on your front facing profile. Next slide. Next, this is a bit more of a hack. You've seen it pretty prolific with a few of the NFT communities, with one that I'll showcase next. But basically with this, you want to create a batch of branded GIFs and then syndicate that through search engines. So you may not know this, but Tenor and Giphy are two GIF search engines that power a lot of Telegram, X, and SMS messaging. And what you could do is basically optimize for impressions by creating memeable, GIFs that people will be willing to share. And so here's some examples. On the left is a snapshot from Tenor. And here I'm typing into the search ETH. This is part of the ETF announcement. What I noticed was that Pudgy Penguins is basically, publishing a lot of GIFs related to keywords that the crypto community is talking about. So great way to earn branded impressions. It costs nothing. If you are kind of wondering to yourself, how am I going to create GIFs? Well, airdrop some tokens, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of people who want to create GIFs for you. Okay, next. So we have social media, we have a seed audience. Now how do we cross-pollinate and coordinate with all the other surface areas that you have to speak with your audience? Well, Radar is one of many Telegram tools that are out there. What I love about this one is you basically take the Telegram feed and you have your community raid tweets or basically perform tasks for economic incentives. You could do other influencer type of coordination with it, but it's a very simple interface. It makes it dummy proof, honestly. And by coordinating with your seed audience on Telegram, you could make a lot of impact on X, again, for free. Next, let's move on to PR. So why is PR so important? In a world like crypto, where we live in, you can't necessarily trust marketing. You need a third party to basically validate that what this person is saying is actually true, and that's where journalists come in. Let's go to the next slide. Journalists are trained to cover news and not marketing, and so effectively what journalists are doing is they're doing the heavy lifting of due diligence. And so I'll give a couple of examples of news versus marketing. Many clients, and many of you in this room, approach journalists and saying, hey, we have a new airdrop campaign coming, or a new product feature that's coming out. Well, that's not news, that's marketing. And to make your marketing news, you have to think about what a journalist cares about. What a journalist cares about is what is the zeitgeist of the industry that they cover? What do they typically cover? What is their beat? And how do you basically do their job for them? So rather than saying, hey, we have a new airdrop campaign coming out, you can say, how are airdrop campaigns performing for the DeFi protocols that are out there? And why is, for example, Nibiru, their airdrop program is a game changer, right? That progresses the conversation beyond what is currently happening, and it's certainly more value added to the journalist than saying, hey, we have an airdrop campaign coming out. Couple pointers here. Typically, a lot of brands do a lot of heavy thinking on which and when in this graph. So many founders are thinking about exploring newsworthy announcements in the pipeline, and they're setting timelines, but they're not really thinking about why, what, and how. So ask yourself, why does this PR need to exist? Fleshing out the objectives of that campaign and more specifically who you're reaching. The what, which is exploring what media channels, earned and paid, to be used for distribution, and then how. How many announcements should you promote in any given month, quarter, or year? And the more that you're kind of giving advance warning to your internal team on what the narrative is for the entire year, the more obviously you can coordinate with partners across the organization. Here's a quick dissection of what a press release looks like. There's many guides like it. Basically, the crux of it is you have an embargo, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to release this news to the public, but we're going to work with you you, special journalist, first, and you're going to have a first take so that you can break the news. There's a headline, so think in headlines. It's a clickbait world, so if someone's not going to click on your headline, they're probably not going to post your content either. And then a quick write-up, a quote from yourself as well as your partner, and then more information about the brand. In this instance, this is from Aurora Protocol Media Funds. Surprise, surprise, it's ultimately about building relationships. Journalists are human beings in the end of the day. They have emotions, so it's important to treat people like human beings. And as such, they are not obligated to cover your story because you send them a cold email. More often than not, the journalist has their own wants and desires and things that they want out of their career. So the more that you figure that out and then tailor what you're bringing to them according to their needs, the more they'll respond to you. Next, obviously, these things take time. If you're planning on doing a funding announcement or something like this, build a relationship well in advance. It's probably too late if you're thinking, I'm going to release something next week. I'm going to build a relationship in a week. That feels very transactional. A couple other items here, but you can follow along later on this. Okay, so next, why is SEO after PR? Right, we've done growth, done social, we've done PR, and SEO. With SEO, the number one lever is off-page links. And if you have a link back from CoinDesk or Block Media in Korea, etc., you're going to rank disproportionately faster. And so the heaviest lifting of SEO is actually earning PR. So once you have PR hits, you probably should think about SEO. Next. Two very practical examples. This is called parasite SEO. Effectively, what you're looking for is forums and UGC domains where you can post content as a user, anonymous or otherwise. What tends to work really well here is questions and answers, like what chain should I buy X token with, or how do I buy Bitcoin with Y local currency. And effectively what you're doing is you're creating a blog post that is very easily indexable because something like Reddit or Quora already has done the work, and then you're leapfrogging off of their domain authority to surface your branded content. You might be wondering, okay, so how do I create the content? Well, it's 2024, and if you're not using AI, you probably should be, because it's going to take over all of our jobs in about 10 years. So use Surfer SEO, great tool, there's many like it, you don't have to use that one, but very quickly you can create a blog post off of a targeted set of keywords that you identify. Next. Okay, so we're in Korea. We're here for Korea Blockchain Week. I'd be remiss not to be I would be a very poor marketer if I'm not reading the room of why we're all here. And for those of you who are Korean, I apologize in advance. This is very obvious for you. For those of you who are not Korean, this is not obvious, so pay attention. Okay. Four main media channels, I would say, are a high area of focus for you. Naver is essentially their Medium, or Substack. Masses 33 million active users. As of last week, they announced that they have a non-custodial wallet, so they are actively in play. You want to stay close to them. Google, as a SEO engine, works for non-Korean content, but Koreans obviously surf the web in Korean, and so they're largely using Naver pages in order to surface information. It's also not endemic to Web3, so it's very easy for you to attract an audience outside of Web3 to essentially red pill. DC Inside is Korea's Reddit, 11 million users. It's Korea's largest online community portal. They have what's called different galleries of subreddits for topics like Bitcoin, altcoin, NFT, virtual currencies, etc. Definitely pay attention to that. Kakao Talk, they also have a non-custodial wallet and their own L1 chain, but they have 50 million active users. It's effectively their line chat room, and they use something called Open Chat, which is basically limits a public forum to up to 1,500 users. So people are organizing and coordinating information around cryptocurrency market news, technical analysis, and more. So very important. And then last but not least, CoinPan. It's one of several sites that feature boards for different cryptocurrencies. It's a great way for you to just snipe out new users with a tailored audience. The other thing is, some of our clients ask us, hey, can you translate docs? And they hem and haw on whether this is worth their ROI. And if you think about our industry where there's only 25,000 monthly active developers in Web3, and you compare that against the developer base in a place like Korea where there's 150,000 software engineers, well, you can just do the math very quickly and realize if you just translate docs from English to Korean and convert 1% of the 150,000 software developers, you're leapfrogging beyond having to compete across chains to attract developers. So it's actually just easier for you to do something that's seemingly a lot of work rather than having to essentially buy developers from one chain to another. This is a nice chart that actually I borrowed from Near blockchain, so shout out to Near. Near essentially worked with, I think these are 10 different university blockchains in Seoul. This is the lifeblood of the talent pool in Korea. A lot of these universities are top not only in the country, but in the region. So definitely beg, borrow, steal your way into building relationships with these university blockchain clubs. They're going to be your users and developers. And then last but not least, there's many offline communities, but two I'll highlight here. On the left is a community that Hashed organizes for early stage founders, and on the right is Nance community, which is the oldest blockchain community in Korea, which does also co-working and co-living, and definitely lives the ethos of Web3. Both communities are wonderful and a great place for you to find ambassadors on the ground. And with that, that's it. Hopefully this was helpful for you.